Ladies and gentlemen, may please everybody sit down and settle down. We're about
Hey, what's good? What's happening to your boy Steezy Wonder with the Thunder, aka Steez of Major Steez.
Hi, my name is Azana.
Hi, my name is Craig.
Hi, my name is Nelly Apiwi.
Hey guys, my name is Lord Kez.
Hey, what's good? My name is Major, one half of Major Steez.
My name is Foyi OG.
Hi family, this is your boy Mawelele, of course.
Hi, my name is Yanda Woods.
Every single person that I know personally has social media, uses it to a certain extent, especially if you are a public figure.
Social media and phones can become very addictive. Trust me, I've seen it myself.
Being exposed to explicit content at a young age is incredibly dangerous on a young mind because it changes curiosity to confusion.
Once I've met a person online before and they start asking for money, that was a big lesson I had to learn when it came to trusting online relationships.
To anyone who needs the reminder to know that they are enough, even without the filters, I just want to encourage you that you're exactly where you're meant to be in your journey. You are doing the work that needs to be done, you're keeping your head down, and you're making sure that your real life and your social media actually are the same.
The best way, I think, to support or defend a friend that's like getting backlash online or getting bullied online, I think is, first of all, check on them offline. Check if they're really taking it deep.
I've been catfished before. Not a nice experience. You never know what that person and what their intentions are.
So, siphila emhlabeni wama-filter, man, and besides ama-filter, you can be in a position whereby you use someone's picture or pictures uziveze ngawo on an online dating site, and then after that, you only find out that person is not real, or loyo muntu loyo ubuyitshela ukuthi wena ukhuluma naye kahle kahle ukhuluma naye.
As soon as you feel uncomfortable or unsafe is the right time to speak up.
Always know that you live inside of you and there is no other you. So you must love you more than everyone else.
So, I think that blocking and reporting is important for the wider community because if one person is harassing you online, they're probably doing it to a bunch of other people.
You should never feel too scared to reach out to a teacher, a friend, a mom, your dad, a loved one, literally anyone. There's always someone that is willing to listen to you vent. There's always a shoulder to cry on. Trust me, you are not alone.
Guys, I got chills watching that because there were so many stories and statements that kind of resonated with me. I think we all felt it. I think you guys could see, we could all say that this is a shared experience. Welcome to the safety room. Round of applause, everyone, please. Now, thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining us here at the MTN Innovation Center. And if you guys are joining us online, I want you to know that I feel you and I hear you. And of course, you guys are part of the conversation. My name is Naledi Khatebe, aka Lady G, for those that know me on the socials. And of course, I know exactly what it is to be part of the digital generation. You know what I mean? This is the shared experience of connectivity, of creativity, but also the pressure of online life. And that's exactly why we are all here today. Now, guys, before we get into this conversation, let's get some housekeeping out the way. If you were looking for safety points, your exit points are to my right and behind you. If you're looking for the restrooms, they are by the left. If you're looking for, online, of course, join us. Please have a chat in the chat box. We want to hear from you. And of course, if you guys are looking for the Wi-Fi, it will be on screen soon. Now, guys, also, this doesn't end here. We are going upstairs afterwards because there's going to be an after party and an opportunity to network and, of course, hear music from DJ Tejo. So please, no one leave soon. All right, let's get into this day. I hope everyone's how's everyone feeling? Grand, eh? Okay, good. I'm glad. Now, I think this is one of those days where we really are talking about what it means to be safe in the digital space. It's all about the youth. I can see that there are young people in the audience, and it is super important to get my voice heard. And I'm very pleased about that. So if we are into it's a movement, this is a movement, a celebration of youth voices, digital champions, and the power of collaboration to make the online world safer for all of us. Now, over the past few months, Room of Safety has sparked real conversations about what it means to grow online and to be seen and to be safe and to be heard. And today, we turn those conversations into something that is real and tangible and something that we can connect with. And of course, there is nothing better than hearing that in a very artistic way. We have amazing performances that are lined up today. And this is a duo of people that they speak the language that I think we all kind of understand. They're talking real talk, it's rhythm, and of course, they are here to spark something that is going to create real change. Please welcome to the stage, Major Steez.
Open the doors for the
We go by Major Steez. We will be right back. What's up?
Put your hands together for Major Steez, everybody, please. I hope everyone's feeling safe. I hope that's the most important thing here, okay? Because this is the room of safety, and that's why we're all here together, because we're talking about safety in the digital space. Of course, recognizing that MTV Base and MTN have come together to collaborate on this project. Now, MTN's footprint spans across the African continent with belief that everyone deserves the benefit of modern connectivity. They also recognize the responsibility to protect children, which is why they have their flagship, Help Children Be Children. Their partnership in Room of Safety reflects a real commitment to listening to young Africans, elevating their stories, and creating space for digital access and engagement. It's about building a safer digital Africa, one that includes and empowers the youth. Let's hear from someone who's been leading this journey from the front, MTN Group's Executive for Sustainability and Shared Value, Marina Madale.
In MTN, we have a very unique greeting, and we'll ask even the competitors in the room to say a warm yellow. Can I hear yellow from the audience? Yeah. There we go. I don't know how to follow Major Steez. They were amazing. And I love the line that was like, smooth operators. And I think there are smooth operators online, actually. So I have the absolute pleasure and privilege to just give you a few remarks. And I think the main thing is that, as Lady G has already spoken about, MTN believes that everybody deserves the benefits of a modern connected life. Now, I promise you, this is something that you can wake up any of our 14,000 plus employees in the middle of the night and ask them, what's our core belief? And they'll all tell you at 2 a.m. or any other ungodly hours. They know it backwards because we believe it, we live it, and everything. And I think when it comes to safety in Africa, we really need to build a safer digital continent. For not just our generation, the generations, but multiple generations that follow. And I think when we look at it, why would it matter? It really is because if you look at the continent, more than half of the Africans on the continent are under the age of 25. That means that it is that generation that is leading, and it's that responsibility that we have to protect them online. And I think you can no longer separate the physical from the online space. The digital world is now the classroom, their playground, their marketplace, and their stage, as you've seen today. And I think every child, the same way, hopefully they can be safe in the physical space, that they can be safe in the online space. And I think as MTN, we believe in ensuring that they stay safe online. And it's been a privilege to be part of programs like this. And I think just to touch on a few things we've been doing and then why we particularly partnered with MTV Base and Paramount Africa on this program. I think first and foremost, we've had a program called Help Children Be Children. In that program, we've been looking at putting more reporting portals online, putting research out there that can be able to give us a sense of what's truly happening on our beloved continent. And I think we've also been blocking child sexual abuse material off our network. And I think that wasn't enough for us. We felt that we need to give the voice to those that it matters about, and that's young people. And that's why we really partnered with MTV Base. It was bringing Room of Safety by young people, for young people, because we still believe they have the greatest influence in their lives and the greatest ability to stand up for one another. And I think that's a shared responsibility. And I think, and Mondo will reflect a little bit on, the journey going forward, because it cannot end at Room of Safety. It needs to live on beyond that. And I think we're very clear that the magnitude of the problem is so severe that we need everybody to play a role, whether it's civil society, whether it is the regulators, government, media, and many other players that I'm probably forgetting at this moment. But I think with each one of you, we'll be able to really take it forward and systemically start to create a safer world. And I think as we build a digital world, we cannot achieve that as one company. We're clear of that. Not as one government, not as one organization. It requires policymakers, as I've spoken, and educators and parents particularly. And it's not just about avoiding risks. It's about building confidence. It's about ensuring then when a child in Lagos or Kigali or Johannesburg, such as Isabella Ntiani, if you join me, it's about making sure that they are safe online. This is about them, and it's helping them to step into a space of learning, a space of fun, and a space that protects them through every decision that they make. And I think today culminates to this moment. And I hope you really get to hear from the influencers directly, hear from others. And I think it's about what are we going to do next? And that's the invitation. We have a duty, a responsibility to protect the generation and the futures that they belong to. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Marina, for those remarks. There's something that kind of struck me about that. I think as I was looking around the room, there are a lot of people that have grown up with digital influence in their lives, right? I'm sure the majority. If I could get a show of hands, like who grew up with social media, Instagram, cell phones always, you've not known a life without it. I want to see people, all your hands up, because so I can tell who the old ones are. Okay, so we get back to the conversation, and we're so honored to welcome someone who is a leader who's deeply committed to empowering Africa's next generation through digital inclusion and safety. Her presence here reflects the African Union Child Online Safety and Empowerment Policy's commitment to digital transformation across the continent, including youth voices at every level. Her Excellency Lerato Mataboge is the African Union Commissioner for Infrastructure and Energy, and today she'll be delivering the official address titled Empowering the Next Generation Through a Safer Digital Africa. So please welcome Her Excellency to the screen.
Excellencies, distinguished leaders, partners, and most importantly, the young people of Africa. I stand before you today as Commissioner of the African Union to lend my support to you in this most important and timely platform, addressing the online safety of Africa's children. Africa is the youngest continent in the world. Over 60% of our people are under 25. And by 2030, young Africans will make up 42% of the global youth population. Every single day, 175,000 children go online for the very first time. A child every half a second. This digital revolution is transforming how we trade, how we learn, and how we share our African stories. But let us be clear. This transformation must never come at the cost of our children's safety. A digital future that exposes children to exploitation, bullying, harmful content, or cybercrime is not the Africa we want. That is why the African Union has adopted the Child Online Safety and Empowerment Policy, a continental shield to protect children's rights in the digital environment. It ensures that every African child can learn, play, and thrive online without fear. This builds on our digital transformation strategy for Africa, the African Union Data Policy Framework, and the Continental Artificial Intelligence Strategy, anchoring safety, privacy, and empowerment at the core of Africa's digital revolution. Let us be clear, policies alone are not enough. That is why we welcome the establishment of initiatives such as African Task Force on Child Online Protection, that is African-owned, African-designed, and African-led. Such initiatives will strengthen national frameworks, embed safety into schools, scale digital literacy, and train regulators to manage risks from artificial intelligence all the way to cybercrime. The challenges are real. Cybercrime already costs Africa over $4 billion annually, nearly 10% of GDPs in some economies. Disinformation, online abuse, and the misuse of personal data are growing threats. And we know the risks are not abstract. 1 in 3 internet users worldwide is a child. But so too are the opportunities. Digitalization is a driver for Agenda 2063 and the Sustainable Development Goals. If harnessed safely, technology can transform health, education, agriculture, and trade, unleashing Africa's full potential. This work cannot be done by governments alone. It requires the hands and the hearts of all of us. Policymakers must legislate and enforce protections. Tech companies must design platforms that are safe by design, putting children's rights before commercial interests. Educators and parents must guide children to navigate wisely. Civil society must support and demand accountability. And most importantly, young people must be heard and contribute to shaping the rules and leading with creativity and courage. That is why the initiatives like the MTN and MTV Base's Room of Safety matter so much. They shift harmful norms, amplify youth voices, and build bridges between policy, industry, and community. They are stepping stones towards an Africa where online safety is not an afterthought, but a foundation. Excellencies, partners, and friends, Africa stands at a pivotal moment. We cannot delay. The protection of our children online is inseparable from Africa's progress offline. And the young people in this room and across the continent, you must know that you are not passive beneficiaries. You are the co-creators of Africa's digital destiny. Your voices matter. Your safety matters. Your future matters. So take your place at the table. Use your voice boldly. Challenge us, your leaders, to hold hands with you. Because when you are safe, you are free. Free to learn, free to innovate, free to lead. When history looks back at this moment, let it say, Africa stood firm. Africa protected its children. Africa built a digital future where safety and opportunity walked hand in hand. For in safeguarding our children today, we are safeguarding Africa's tomorrow. I thank you.
What a powerful and inspiring message from Her Excellency. And I think there were so many points that she touched on. It's all about community. It's about the collaboration. It's about the fact that MTN, MTV Base, and the youth have come together, that this is not just one person's problem. It's all of our issue to solve and to fix and to figure out. And so we're going into a reel, and this is more than just a glimpse into the heart of Room of Safety. This is full of tears and moments and bloopers and everything that makes up what this project is all about. I hope that you guys enjoy it and you guys can see the people that contributed to it. So let's get that rolling.
In today's digital world, the internet connects us, inspires us, and gives us a platform to share our voices. But behind the likes, the comments, and the endless scroll, there are hidden dangers we cannot ignore. That's why MTN and MTV Base came together to create the Room of Safety, a space designed to spark honest conversations about what it really means to be online. Across 10 powerful episodes, artists, influencers, and young Pan-African voices stepped into this room. They shared their stories, their lessons, and their truths about navigating the digital space. From cyberbullying to catfishing, from the pressure of likes to the toll social media can take on mental health. From protecting your privacy to learning how to be a digital ally, every conversation was raw, real, and necessary. Because staying safe online isn't just about blocking and parental controls. It's about protecting your peace, your voice, and your future. The Room of Safety became more than a studio. It became a reminder that we all have the power to shape the internet into a space that uplifts, not harms. MTN and MTV Base opened the door. Africa's youth walked through. And together, we're building a safer tomorrow, online and beyond.
Beautiful, guys. Now I am joined by some of the influencers. Of course, Larai, you and I are part of the Culture Squad. Shout out to Major Steez. Can we get a round of applause for our esteemed panelists as we have a conversation? Now, okay, I'll start with you, Rai. You know, this project, how did it feel joining in and being asked to be a part of it? Because you're quite a voice, I think, online and in the youth. And what cultural relevance do you think it has?
Ooh, that's a loaded one. Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much for having me here. I want to start off by, I was hanging on to a statement that Her Excellency Ms. Lerato M said in her speech, policies are not enough. I study politics and international relations, and so I 100% believe and understand what she's saying. And I think being in the position that I am in, working in entertainment while studying politics, I realize that there's a point where there's a gray area between policy and people. And myself and the work that I strive to do is to not only facilitate the convergence, but embody the convergence of policy and people, which is nice to say out loud, but it's a lot of hard work. And it speaks to what type of future I would want to see for myself, for my peers as young Africans. When you talk about relevance, I think everything that's happened in the past month alone, we can just talk about two things that show us why something like this is so relevant. I mean, you can talk about the Alabuga Start program scandal that happened with the influencers recently. And we see how incredibly important it is for people to really know and do their research on what they're seeing online, because we live in a post-truth world now more than ever. You can get anything and see anything online. And I think the moment for me where I truly saw that was last week, Wednesday. I was sitting at the United Nations headquarters in New York, and I'm sitting with the press corps, and somebody runs out and says, Charlie Kirk was just shot. Immediately, as in like 30 seconds after it happens. That's how soon it all was. And the video that I saw was the uncensored version. And so imagine seeing such graphic content. I immediately just thought about, if I saw this online, what about the children? What about the people that were there in person? And the fact that something like this can spread so easily and so quickly. And it brought me back to why I've been part of this campaign, which is because they're doing the work. MTV Base is all about young people, and that's why I'm with a company like them, you know. But MTN has done the research, working with the Internet Watch Foundation. There's so much data that they've had to extract and collect to put together a campaign like the Help Children Be Children campaign. And for us to create the Room of Safety, oh my gosh, I want to be part of that, 100%, because it means that we're actually working towards that future that we want to see that is safe and inclusive for all of us.
Yeah, I mean, guys, sorry, can we get a round of applause? Because that was food for thought. Larai, ufundile mntanam, honestly. One thing about Larai, you're incredibly intelligent, and I think there are a lot of points that you added there that are really important. And it's nice to see someone that cares so much for the youth and for young people her age, kind of like in this space and having this conversation in such a serious tone. So absolutely love that. Major, let's talk. Let us talk. Now, when you stepped into the Room of Safety set, what was the vibe? Okay, what did you get from the energy, and what surprised you most about the experience?
Well, you know, I really Well, honestly, like, I thought me and my brother just came in to come and perform and bounce.
Come to find out. Come to
for real.
find out.
But, you know, it come to find out that, you know, it was something way deeper.
Mm.
You know, there was laughter in the room, a good time, but yet, you know, conversations were had and people really got into depth about things they really don't talk about, like aloud. Conversations were had, which really made like a lot of us vulnerable, you know, which I feel like is not a bad thing at all. And you know what? It also just gave me a perspective of how like storytelling is so important, and we get to learn from other people's experiences just through vulnerability and hearing other people's stories. So, you know what? It was something that we all needed. I feel like it's about time. It's about time we step into this space, you know. So I really love the experience.
Oh my goodness. Yo, guys, that was incredibly vulnerable for you to share. And I won't lie, I almost got tears in my eyes for a moment because I was listening to you like, wait a minute, I didn't expect to go this way. But I really appreciate you sharing that with us. And I think you're totally right. It is about time that this is happening. You know, it's kind of like been a long time coming. And I think we, like you said, probably have had all these feelings that have been under the surface, not knowing how to deal with them, and now you're presented with a place that can actually allow for them to come out. So thank you for sharing.
Precisely.
Thank you for that. Yeah. Steez, you're on your Steez.
Hey.
Okay, so when you got asked to join in this, talk to me about kind of like what's the process of creativity because you're part of this in a musical way as well. So what was the process of creativity in it? Like, what was the vulnerability that you had to enter into creating, I guess, this kind of music that goes with it? And also, what was your biggest takeaway?
I think just with regards to the musical aspect of like where my brother and I are in our career and everything,
Sure.
It made sense to align with a campaign like this, given that like the music we're releasing right now and like focusing on right now is a lot more grown up. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I think had an event like this happened 2 years ago, I'd be wearing extremely baggy jeans right now and like be sagging my pants and have 100 chains on. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, so we've matured in our career musically and everything. The music has matured, as you guys are going to hear shortly. But it also just like made even more sense because, like Major mentioned, these are important conversations that people need to have. Like with the passing of that American politician, Charlie Kirk, and everything, the gore of the footage of him passing away online and everything like that, and like kids having easy access to stuff like that. I mean, it can traumatize people. Do you know what I'm saying? So I think on our side, it was more of like a is it a CSI? No, CSR. Corporate responsible, social responsibility thing.
Exactly, that one.
Yeah, that's the one. We were like, okay, this could be our opportunity to like address the real side of this whole internet influence entertainment thing field that we're in. And one of my biggest takeaways, I think, was, well, first of all, that MTN and MTV Base are clearly doing like what other brands are lacking, so like surely lacking in terms of paying attention to. So shout out to them. And we were just happy to be.
Say it louder. Are they doing what?
Yeah, the other brands need to catch up for real. Yeah, so we were just happy to be a part of it, and yeah, that's about it for me.
No, shout out. Thank you so much, and I think it's true what you're saying. Creativity. Round of applause, of course. Yo, I was ready to talk. I was so excited about it. No, I was going to say that the element of creativity. And mixing that with responsibility, I think is amazing. And I love the fact that you guys are doing it. So I'd like to thank you guys both. I mean, well, Major, Steez, Larai. I'd like to thank you guys so much for the conversation. And of course, we're about to go into a video. And this is just a continuation of the conversation that we're having right now about digital responsibility and the youth. So check it out.
My name is Foyi OG. I think online safety matters, especially for young people today, because we're growing up in a world that was so different to when I grew up.
Hi, my name is Yanda Wood. For me, I'd say a healthy digital balance would be waking up, not immediately going on your phone and scrolling on TikTok. Do something else, read a book, go outside, let your skin feel the sun. It's important to take social media breaks. I choose to pray, read a book before going on my phone because social media and phones can become very addictive. Trust me, I've seen it myself.
So many students feel the pressure to flex online because they're comparing their journey to someone else's entirely. The houses are things that people don't own, the clothes and the bags are fake, or they're comparing their 19-year-old student life to someone who's over 40 and has an established career. Just be patient. Instant gratification is not the way to go. Sometimes you just need to give yourself time to earn where you are in life because you will get there in the right time. Comparison truly is the thief of joy.
There's a quote that I live by. It goes, comparison is the thief of joy. So I try not to scroll on my phone as much because as soon as I see that maybe someone got a new car or a new apartment, I start comparing their life to mine. That's not good for my mental health because then I tend to overthink about, what they have that maybe I don't have. And it's not a good thing because as a person, you need to always appreciate what you have and live in the moment and be grateful for what you have.
The difference between real success and the curated version we see on social media is exactly that. Social media is heavily curated. You're not seeing the hours that go into making those successful highlight reels. So it's important to make sure that your success milestones are yours. You're endeavoring to achieve things you want to achieve, not just measuring yourself up against someone you see on Instagram.
As content creators or people online, we show you guys what we want you to see. So maybe today I'm having the best day ever. I'm going out for lunch with my girlies. We're at Uko. It's a nice time. But the next day I'm crying. Why? Because my boyfriend dumped me. I'm not going to show you guys that I'm crying, but I'm going to show you the good times, the brunch, blah, blah, blah. Truth is, we'll never really know because we've just become so good at faking our lifestyles.
I deal with FOMO by also remembering what I actually want out of this life. That doesn't mean I don't dream big. It just means I keep grounded in my life and knowing what works for me. So sometimes, yes, I do feel a bit of FOMO that I'm not given a certain opportunity, but I also know that everything that is meant for me will come for me at the right time.
Powerful words, powerful messages, and now powerful music from Major Steez. Yeah, we're. I won't lie, guys, I really do love the fact that music can be used for advocacy. There's nothing more impactful, especially when it comes to the youth on such things. It's the way that we understand it. We understand things through creativity. Now, we've heard from youth influencers and creatives, but digital safety is a shared responsibility, and it takes all of us. This next video voices the people that write the laws that keep children safe online across the continent. Ministers, regulators, and industry voices coming together to reinforce that online safety is not just a priority, but a shared value. Roll the tape.
Good day. I am Sfiso Ngobese, Director for School Safety at the Department of Basic Education in South Africa. It is a privilege to lend my voice to MTN's Room of Safety campaign, a powerful initiative that aligns closely with our mandate to protect and empower learners across the country. As we continue to strengthen the safety of our children, we must acknowledge that digital safety has become an essential pillar of child protection. The internet has transformed how young people learn, connect, and express themselves. But with this transformation comes risk. Today's learners are exposed to cyberbullying, sextortion, sexual abuse material, and increasingly AI companions and bots that can manipulate or exploit vulnerable users. Online safety is no longer optional. It is a necessity. It is about safeguarding the emotional, mental, and physical well-being of our children in a digital-first world. In South Africa, we have taken proactive steps to address these challenges. Through our school safety programs, we promote digital literacy, anti-bullying campaigns, and psychosocial support. We are also working with partners to strengthen legislation and policy frameworks that protect children online. Our collaboration with civil society, tech platforms, and private sector leaders like MTN is vital. Together we can build a digital ecosystem that is safe, inclusive, and empowering for every child. MTN's Room of Safety is a bold and timely intervention. It gives young people a voice, a platform, and the tools to navigate the digital world safely. As government, we welcome this kind of leadership and call on other stakeholders to join in creating a safer internet for children. We must move from conversation to commitment.
This is why online safety has never been more urgent. As the Uganda Police Force, we have strengthened our cybercrime department to investigate cases, improved reporting channels for online abuse, and worked with schools and communities to raise awareness through the Department of Child and Family Protection, all in support of children and families affected by digital crimes. Law enforcement cannot do this alone. We need a united front. This is why I commend MTN for its collaboration with MTV Base for the Room of Safety initiative. By empowering the children and the youth to report cyber crimes, you are complementing our work with prevention and education. I call on telecom companies, tech innovators, parents, educators, cafe business owners, civil society, children, and the youth to work with us. Together, we can ensure that every child in Africa enjoys the benefits of the internet without being exposed to its danger.
Our children who are very vulnerable are having access to content that is uncensored. And access to such content becomes critical because the more children have access to a particular content, that's how their brain also develops as a function of that content. So if we want to protect our youth, which is the role of every government, we must be able to ensure that their access to content online is controlled in one form or another, either using technology either using the laws, but more importantly about sensitization and also working with the parents to ensure that the content that children access are in line with our cultural values and the values of the country. The government of Cameroon had taken child protection very, very importantly. So that's why 2 years ago, the Child Protection Act Online was passed by the National Assembly and promulgated by the head of state. What that does in that law, it outlines punishment and different actions that actors within the country should undertake to ensure that children are fully protected online. It is very critical for solution providers like MTN to look at measures to be able to keep children online. We are in the age of artificial intelligence. I think MTN and other operators, what they must do is to be able to use AI itself to protect the children. What type of content? How can AI filter the content that they are using? How can technology or AI be used to determine the age of a child that is accessing content online?
This is why online safety has become more important than ever. Our children are the future of Uganda and Africa. If we fail to protect them in the digital world, we compromise their well-being, their dignity, and the promise of our continent demographic dividend. Uganda is committed to addressing this challenge. We have strengthened cybercrime laws, established the National Child Online Protection Task Force, developed programs that raise awareness among parents, teachers, and communities. We are also integrating digital literacy into schools to help children navigate the online world safely and responsibly. But this work cannot be done by government alone. We need partnership. That is why I commend MTN and MTV Base for the Room of Safety campaign. By placing youth voices at the center, you help us build practical, inclusive and lasting solutions.
Je suis Charriette Orsili Monguida, responsable du programme You Report. On est dans l'engagement des jeunes à travers les thématiques comme la santé, l'environnement, l'éducation. L'engagement You Report, c'est vraiment, on va dire, la sensibilisation sur le terrain, l'information, mais vraiment la prise en main avec l'action terrain. Pourquoi la sécurité en ligne est-elle importante aujourd'hui? Simplement parce qu'aujourd'hui, la majorité des jeunes passent plus de leur temps sur Internet en regardant les contenus inappropriés. Ils sont donc exposés au cyberharcèlement, ils sont exposés aux arnaques, ils sont exposés à tout fléau, vraiment en lien avec Internet. C'est pourquoi il faudrait mieux s'assurer de leur protection en ligne.
Alors, la chose simple que chaque jeune peut faire pour rester en sécurité émotionnellement, voilà, ou bien dans un autre domaine en ligne, c'est de faire comme ce qu'on conseille de faire dans la vie de tous les jours. C'est qu'il ne faut pas se fier à tout ce que nous voyons sur Internet. Que ça soit sur Internet ou dans la vie de tous les jours, on doit avoir des personnes de référence, des personnes de confiance, qui sont notamment nos parents, les éducateurs qui sont dans les centres, ou encore des institutions de confiance. Quand on arrive en ligne, c'est juste une nouvelle plateforme, mais le comportement doit rester le même, c'est-à-dire garder un dialogue avec les parents et puis adopter une attitude responsable.
Bonjour à tous, je suis Dominique Ikiangolo, défenseur des jeunes à l'UNICEF. Mon rôle est de contribuer à la mise en œuvre du programme Développement et Participation des adolescents, plus précisément dans la prise en compte des besoins des adolescents et des jeunes, et en particulier ceux vulnérables ou vivant avec handicap. La sécurité en ligne est très importante aujourd'hui parce que beaucoup de jeunes comme moi sont exposés aux risques des réseaux sociaux, notamment à l'intimidation, la pédopornographie, les arnaques, etc. Et protéger la sécurité en ligne des jeunes, c'est protéger leur santé mentale et protéger leur avenir. Je pense qu'ensemble, nous pouvons créer un univers numérique plus sûr pour les jeunes en mettant en place des programmes de sensibilisation et en permettant aux jeunes d'avoir des outils nécessaires pour se protéger face aux dangers des réseaux sociaux et tout ce qui est en ligne.
how encouraging it is to hear from policymakers and organizations across Africa. I think there's something to be said about that this is such a collaborative effort. And I hope that those that are online know that we see them, we hear them. Please chat in the chat box. You are involved in this conversation. Now, we've spoken to influencers and to the policymakers, but I think it's important to have a conversation with the people behind the technology and building it. And so I've been joined by an esteemed panel of guests, the heads of some of our, the best companies. I'll start by recognizing Nola Richards from Vodacom, Marina Madale from MTN, Nomonde Gongleka from GCMA, Dudu Etsang Makuse from Meta, Sipho Ntombeni from Google, and Makiba Yamano from UNICEF. Can we please get a round of applause? How's everyone doing today? Actually, let's just start there. Are we feeling safe?
Yes.
Okay, in the room as well. I mean, it's important. I think, we're talking about the youth, but adults, it's important to also check in. And so I'd like to start with a question for Nola Richards from Vodacom. How do you ensure that the children's voices shape online safety strategies? Are we designing platforms and policies with them in mind?
So I think up until now, if I have to be honest, I think sometimes we kind of felt, and myself personally, it's up to us to solve the problems. I have an 18-year-old son, and I've really enjoyed the shift from when I'm saving, protecting, putting the boundaries in place, and shifting to a conversation where it's more of an engagement, different views, different perspectives, and hearing things that perhaps I am over dramatizing, where he's going like, oh, Mom, I don't take that stuff seriously, but also where he comes and he highlights risks to myself. And I think in terms of my work in the human rights portfolio, even just these conversations at home really have had a transformative effect. And I'm very glad because I've made him a bit jealous because needless to say, I sent the video and the photos. Major Steez, where are you? So I think it's something which we need to do more intentionally. So at Vodacom, we actually are setting up a program where we want to create a youth forum as well, where it's conversations, ongoing conversations, just to understand different perspectives, how I'm amazed at how differently my son thinks to me. We grew up in a very different world, and whilst we are adapting, we haven't made that complete transition. And yeah, I'm enjoying it. And I think the more we do that and the less we fear, because I think, and I'm probably speaking for every parent in the room, so anybody in the room, fear drives a lot of what we do and not necessarily in the best way. So by having these conversations, you actually take away some of that fear and then you can move towards solutions.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Round of applause for Ms. Nola. MTN's Marina Madale, we've heard from you earlier on, but of course we need more nuggets of information and knowledge from you, please. So we'd like to know, MTN operates in markets across the continent. How would a coordinated and multitasker coordinated and multi-stakeholder platform facilitate consistent and impactful solutions for child online protection?
Before I answer your question, I want to deviate slightly.
Okay.
To speak specifically around the psychosocial impact. And I think that's not something that we're speaking enough about. If you actually see, let's say, someone being physically abused, whether a woman or a child, physically being shamed by the immediate people around them, that's a once-off instance. Now, online, it's repeated, it's shared. It's not only in South Africa. A video so quickly goes viral. So the psychosocial impact of abuse or anything online has an amplified effect than what you get from even a physical interaction, So I think we need to speak more about that psychosocial impact. And I love how a few of the influencers on the episodes of Room of Safety actually spoke about how young people view love relationships and things like that actually changes based on the experiences they have. And I think we can't negate that psychosocial impact. So when you start to look at a multi-stakeholder platform, like I said earlier, there's no one organization. You have to tackle this from multiple angles. And that's why, you know, some of the work, and we're building up towards October. We're really excited about the discussions that are going to happen. And I think, you know, through UNICEF and GSMA, starting, you know, two powerful convening bodies, bringing everybody together to say and to lay the groundwork and say, what does the ground look like right now? Which countries have reporting portals? Which countries don't? Which countries have legislation? Which countries don't? Which countries are thinking of emerging technologies? Which ones aren't? You know, because until you lay that groundwork and understand what's the lay of the land, then you can tackle it and say, okay, you know, stakeholder X, you know, will you cover that part? Stakeholder Y, and so forth. And that's, we can actually see systemic changes. And I think the big thing is youth must be involved in each and every part of this. We cannot do this without them.
Round of applause. Absolutely agree. Thank you so much for those remarks. Makiba Yamano from UNICEF. Can you tell us about the Africa Task Force for Child Online Safety and what the objectives of the task force are?
Definitely. Thank you so much for inviting us to the platform. And then Marina has already mentioned quite a bit about the Africa Task Force for Child Online Protection, but it is a continental and multi-stakeholder platform to safeguard children's rights in the digital space. It should be Africa's solution and Africa-owned, Africa-designed, Africa-led mechanism, as the commissioner from the AU has mentioned. And then what we are also aiming to is that Africa's digital transformation is creating many new opportunities for our children, but yet it is also exposing them to growing risks, as it has been already mentioned: cyberbullying, exploitation, online sexual abuse, misinformation, and harmful content. And the task force is responding to these challenges by offering a unique solution that is African-born. So there are 4 objectives of the task force. First, to drive the implementation of the African Union's Child Online Safety and Empowerment Strategy, which has been mentioned by the commissioner earlier in her keynote speech. But also, second, to strengthen national and regional capacities of regulators, to helplines, and then to law enforcement, so that emerging online risks are effectively addressed. Third, to generate and elevate African-led research and data, so that policy and then programs like this can be based on the robust evidence and then the voices of the children themselves. And finally, fourth, to ensure that children and young people themselves are at the center, like Marina just said, because their voices are directly informing digital policy, design, and then governance. So in short, the task force are trying to seek positioning Africa not just as a participant, but it should be the global leader in child-centered digital governance, showing how entire continent can come together to build a safer digital environment and future for our children in Africa.
Thank you for those remarks. So we're recognizing the fact that there is action being taken in a very tangible way after recognizing the problem being say it again for me, psychosocial impacts. Okay, so we've got that down. Thank you so much. Round of applause, please, for Makiba. Nomonde Gongeka from GSMA, can you tell us about the Mobile Alliance Against Sexual Abuse and what the Alliance seeks to achieve? In June this year, well, let's actually start there because that's part 1. And then second part is you release a white paper entitled Enhancing Child Online Protection in Sub-Saharan Africa. So can you tell us about the paper and its recommendations?
Thank you very much. Before I get into the content side of things, I think when I walked in here, good afternoon, everyone. When I walked in here, I went through the store, and what I saw, I bumped into Digify Africa, I bumped into Web Rangers, And I really got excited because these are the foot soldiers that over the years, even in my previous life, I basically journeyed with, which shows the fact that the work that is underway is ongoing, and it's so critical. But what is also important is that I think a few weeks ago, I came across a headline that says the dangers of the internet to an untamed mind. And I mean, for me, that really made me to sit up and say, you know what, the work that we are all collectively trying to do is ever so important. But you also look at it and say, the internet, good intentions, however, unintended outcomes, because whoever built the internet, it was for good intentions. We are able to connect. During COVID, we were able to pivot into the internet and be able to, online schooling, continue to do business and stuff like that. However, we still have the dark internet. And it brings us to why we are basically maybe sitting here, because even the white paper for it to be conceptualized is the work that we do as the GSMA, which started off in Barcelona around March, where we say we are aware of what's going on, but what something with substance can we do, from a policy perspective as a collective, to make sure that we continue to put guardrails to safeguard our children and the users. And the one thing that comes to mind is this beautiful Shivenda saying that you can never pick corn with one finger. You need all these little fingers coming together to be able to pick corn so that you can go feed the nation. And this is basically what we're doing as the GSAMA in partnership with the UNICEF and drawing all these critical and important stakeholders to hold hands and journey with us. The end goal is to make sure that we put frameworks in place to assist governments, to assist us as business and all other impacted stakeholders to make sure how we educate our children to be safe online, that kind of a thing. So at the end of the day, I think for me, the most the one thing that made my heart melt was last week when we all gathered online, with all the interested parties. We had over 30, if I'm not mistaken, where we briefed them about the intention of this task force and just the engagements, the asking of questions, because you don't walk into a room and just buy into a concept, just that engaging a platform that we had. But what's important is that straight after that, the people and the organizations that have raised their hands and say, we are signing this MOU because why? We care about the safety of our children and we want to be part of this. And maybe in closing is that we still are open to any organization that still want to come on board, because without a doubt, in 4 weeks' time, on the 22nd of October, we are going to be launching this task force and holding hands with all the collaborators. We are basically going to be forging ahead.
Amazing. Round of applause. Emphasis on the connection between all of these parties, everyone coming together in agreement on the particular topic at hand and realizing how serious it is. So really, really appreciate the fact that you highlighted that. So from Meta, we have Dudu Etsang Makuse. What features, tools, and measures does Meta take to keep children safe online?
Good afternoon, everyone. I hope you can hear me, and I do apologize for not being there with you all. I've got a bit of a cold, but very happy to be part of this conversation. So for Meta platforms, basically we're talking about Instagram, Facebook, WhatsApp, Messenger Kids, and Reality Labs Horizon as well. So these are our platforms, but most of you are probably familiar with Instagram and Facebook. So what some of you may not know is that we actually have over 30 different types of tools and features that are designed to keep teenagers like yourselves, parents, guardians, and anybody else who's basically interacting with a minor in particular protected settings. So as a rule, we don't really allow under 13 people to be on our platforms. So that's the first, I think, call outs that I would call out in this setting is to really call on people to make sure that under 13s are not accessing social media, because it really puts them in a position where even the controls that are there might not be as impactful. And then I think the second thing I would call out there is the parental supervision tools that we have. The assumption might be that this is for your parents to come and spy on you and check every little thing that you're doing. But actually, that's not how they were designed, and that's not the ethos behind why we have them. So we have our parental supervision tools, which can be found in our family center, primarily to facilitate healthy digital habits between parents and the children in their care, as well as guardians. And really, the entire tools at the product level will start with things like adjusting your privacy settings, adjusting the kind of content that you see, so you don't see content that would be appropriate for somebody who's maybe 20 with a filter, but you're 16 and maybe is going to be negatively impactful for you. And then I think it's also about, your screen time and all of these things that you can negotiate with your parent. So even the dashboard, when you use it, it allows you as the teen and as the parent to sit and have a conversation about what is the appropriate use of, for example, Instagram, what kind of interests your young person might be interested in. But also for you as a young person, it helps because you're able to also raise particular issues and have conversations with the guardians in your life when you start seeing things on your platform that you probably are making you feel uncomfortable, worst case scenario, are potentially harmful. So these are like the high level ones. I think the two things that I would call out here, and Nomonde is there. Nomonde is my previous boss. It's really good to see her there. But one of the things that she mentioned was the efforts that have gone into digital literacy and equipping folks both inside of South Africa and beyond with the right understanding of what we mean by online safety, what we mean by privacy settings, all these little things that eventually make for a safer experience. And these are programs that we continue to roll out with our partners. These are also programs that our partners are actually in the communities and constantly iterating and improving to make sure that they are appropriate. So Kitswabot, Ilizwilam, programs that are really culturally and contextually relevant and accessible for pretty much anyone who can access at least WhatsApp at the bare minimum. So I will flag those and pause there because there could be many, many more that I could deep dive into. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Nomonde, for bringing up, I guess, the conversation around, accessibility, facilitating the conversation between parents and children. I think it's really important. Now, on to Sipho Mtombeni from Google. Tell us about Google's work with South Africa's Department of Education and in incorporating digital safety in the schooling curriculum.
Sure. All right. Good afternoon, everyone. It's good to see that I'm the thorn among the roses. You should have told me. Maybe we could have brought. We have women in Google as well, But anyway, I'm glad to be here, and especially to be speaking here on this panel with these leaders. I've worked quite closely with a lot of them over the years. But so our approach at Google really is to try to make sure that we can help children grow up with the internet, but in a safe space, right? So we understand that we can't have a one-size-fits-all approach. We have a saying which we refer to as growing up with Google. So when you think about Google and think about this widespread of the different tools and platforms that we have. So when you think of Google, it's not just Google search. You think of Google Maps, you think in Gmail, you think in YouTube, you think in YouTube Music. So there's very different times where children, youth, teens are going to interact with one of our tools, right? So our approach with that has been to try to make sure that we can meet the children where they are, right? And making sure that we have age-appropriate content, information, etc., that is going to be accessible to them. It would be difficult to some ages to be able to try to have this conversation at a level beyond them, right? So meet them where they are. And with that kind of ethos, this is where we met with the Department of Education, started and piloted this project in 2019. We started developing a South Africa-based curricula that is based for grades 8 to 12, looking at the various different aspects of trying to empower young people as they're growing into the digital world. So you start thinking about topics like cyberbullying, right? So now at a grade 8 level, this is when kids who are now starting to be active on social media because as Duretang said, maybe they're now beyond the age of 13. They're starting to get onto social media. They're starting to experience things like cyberbullying. They don't maybe understand exactly what it means and how they can deal with it. So we've tailor-made it in such a manner to be firstly age appropriate and trying to make sure that we are growing with them. It is completely aligned with all of the other curricula that and the different policies that the Department of Education already had in place. So we kind of try to merge the knowledge base that Google has and the knowledge base that the Department of Education has to try to put this into a program. And one of the things that we've been trying to do now over the past couple of years is bringing in more partners, right? So understanding that with the information that Google has might be only limited to the various different platforms that we have, but we might not have the experience that Meta has in terms of Instagram or the experience that MTN has in terms of being a mobile network. So we're trying to, and we've been engaging with our various different partners to say now, how do we bolster what we already have and make it sure that it goes up to a way where we've created young people who can thrive in the digital world because they understand how it operates, they understand how to function, how to be digital citizens. And some of the things that also with emerging technology that is coming, AI is, I mean, I can't go a day in my life without mentioning the word AI. So how do we empower young people to now also understand AI and how AI is going to affect them in the world and in the jobs that they want to think about in the future? So that's been something that we've been rolling out nationally. We've had a great rollout structure, working with partners like UNICEF, like the Film and Publication Board, like the Department of Social Development as well, who were other government partners beyond the private sector partners who came on board and said, actually, let's do this all together, right? So, I mean, who would have thought we would see Vodacom and MTN on one stage, you know? You know, but I think we've all come to the realization that it can't be one organization, it can't be one partner versus another. Actually, it is something that we need to do together, especially for the African continent, because again, I think Her Excellency mentioned that Africa by 2030 is going to be kind of the world place where most young people are. We're going to be the working force behind the world, and we need to empower our generations that are coming to make sure that they are able to thrive in this new world that is coming to them. So that's really what that partnership has been about, and we look forward to kind of growing it with further partners, so that it is ingrained in our curricula. Because I think once you get a child to understand 1 + 1 = 2, that also cybersecurity, these are the issues that you deal with. This is how you become a digital citizen from a young age. Because one thing that we're doing now as well, because what we had is at high school level, we've actually realized that now we have to go to primary school level, because kids are getting access to devices and to the digital world from a younger age. Now you have a laptop or a tablet or a cell phone at a younger age while you're still in primary school. So we're now understanding that we have to start engaging at that level. So yeah, so look forward to continued partnership with everyone, but that's really how it's been going on.
So facilitating a process of preparation and protection for the youth through partnership. Round of applause for Sipho, everybody. Now, I'd like to throw it to the audience. Do we have any questions that you guys would like to ask our most esteemed panel of tech digital masterminds? Any questions from the audience? Okay, none, and we will go. I'd like to, first of all, thank you so much. Oh, is there a question? Mm-hmm. Oh, there is a question. Can we get a mic, please?
Hi, good afternoon.
Afternoon.
My name is Horisani Ramugadi. Let me start by appreciating the tremendous work that we see coming through. in the bid to make sure that our children are safe. When you listen to the presentation by all the speakers, you hear that there's a lot of work that we are doing. The question I have is that when it comes to the age limit, I hear that children can access Facebook if they are not 13. Do we have reports of those who try to access the platforms, and how do we address those events where children try to access the platforms? And from the statistics that comes up, what trends are we picking up that shows that the risk is growing up? Because we need then to address the risks based on the facts on the floor. We are putting good measures in place, but as we are taking these measures, what is coming up? Thank you.
Who would like to answer? Sibo?
Are we taking all the questions or?
Oh, I think we can answer first and then we can take.
Okay, so I think it was Dudu Etzang. Do you want to start?
Sure thing. Thank you very much for that question. I think, as you correctly point out, there's so much work that has already happened over the years to invest in not only the technological solutions, but also programs, things that can be integrated into daily life, into the school curriculum. And I think what's part of the frustration is probably the slow journey that we've been taking, I think, as a continent, even, I would say, in terms of almost naturalizing and normalizing our digital existence. I think sometimes we still talk of it as if it's an extension of our lives, and it's really not. It's really embedded in a lot of what we do. That's why young people can talk about, I should wake up and not grab my phone to go online, right? So these things tell us already that this is embedded. Now the question becomes, if it's so embedded in our day-to-day life, where in our day-to-day functioning are the opportunities, are the spaces where we're not just teaching digital literacy formally in a classroom through a program or a module, but at the dinner table, you know, the ways that we talk to each other, the ways that we learn and share information, these are the moments when we need to be looking at, oh, hold up a second, you know, and it starts with the culture of asking, hold up a second, how did you access that platform? Or, I see your kid has a phone. Is it set up the right way? Do you know there's a parental control? Do you know that even the phone device itself, the operating system will also have parental controls for you to limit the time? You know, you see a kid with a tablet, adults should be talking about, oh yeah, this one, in the same way that they would tell us not to watch TV the whole afternoon, you know, watch Disney's Cartoon Cafe and then you stop at 4 o'clock. So it's a similar thing today where we have to get into the practice of those of really normalizing and getting into the weeds of how this is part of our day-to-day life rather than an extension. And then I think the second piece that I would touch on there is really to double down on supporting the organizations that are in the communities. So whether it's Digify Pro, whether it's Web Rangers, the partnerships and the collaborations that big players can make. Once we've done some of that legwork in partnership with other entities, there are entities that have actually existed longer than us, who understand the principles that should be informing our interventions. So if you hear of a Digify or a Web Rangers, this is the opportunity to see, oh, what community-led partnerships or initiatives can we pick up in my area or in my province, so that the news actually travels and becomes part of like how we live and breathe, and not just a once-off thing that happens once a year or only when the school has said it's now official curriculum. So these little tools that you pick up at the exhibitions and all of that, these are the things that we should be sharing in, you know, all these WhatsApp groups that we're in and everywhere else, to get people into the practice of this is part of getting your school education, getting a driver's license. It's part of how you grow and prepare for the world that we're going to be moving into. Thanks.
Or would you like to add to that, Zola?
Just to build, and I think that's the important behind this task force. One of the key things that we need to do, and it was the question you asked me, how much are we listening? Last was it last year already, or was it earlier this year, where you presented the findings of the research, and then obviously at UNICEF we've been talking about research. One of the key things around this is the fact that we need to create synergies and we need to leverage off of everybody, because what happens is if we're duplicating efforts, number one, that's not very effective. And then second of all, through the peer learning and through the sharing, this is also where we learn and we understand what the risks are and what the opportunities are. So I think that feedback mechanism, whichever way it comes, sometimes in a very formalized manner. And then as we mentioned, it's your experiences in your life, it's your reflections in terms of you bring them forward. The one thing which I really loved about earlier and is this encouragement around the safe space. And I think sometimes even us as adults and as peers in what they call the tech stack, we need to have that psychological safety amongst each other. And we need to have some very honest conversations and to reflect on what we feel we've done well, what we haven't done well, and then map a way forward. Because I think that collaboration and the reflection of what's coming through, one organization cannot do it on their own. So, yeah.
Thanks. Please. I just wanted to add, I think let's be honest about the question you've asked. I think we have a blind spot, right? And the blind spot, I would say, is multifaceted. Firstly, when an individual goes and buys a device, it's the parent buying it, okay? So it's very difficult at this moment to tell whether a subscriber is of what age particularly, okay? So more needs to be done, let's be honest. That's buying a device, right? Then what you get is as you set up the device, obviously again in there, you'll put, and I remember, my husband and I, as we were buying the devices for the kids, then we set up Tiani's iPad and we started to say, okay, Tiani is of this age, So then an age starts to filter into the device. And then obviously the next is as they create subscription-based, because remember, again, unless you're subscribing to YouTube Kids, then you get age again, So I think there's more that needs to be done to figure out who's really using the device. So I think we need to be honest that it's a blind spot, and it's something that maybe even, UNICEF, GSMA, let's talk about it in the task force to say, how do we start dissecting data and using technology and analytics to figure out who's really using the device, Because remember, if you look at the basics and the regulator regulate that you've got to be RICA'd or you've got to go through KYC to get a device, it's likely the adult because you've got to be over 18, So I think we need to be honest that some of these devices, we're going to have to work on the different layers to figure out who's using them and how to track it first. And then you asked the second question about risks. I think the one that at least I think all of us, but also that keeps me particularly awake at night is AI. We're seeing kids after kids turning, and I have to acknowledge that technology is good, first and foremost, but to also say there's those unintended consequences. You're seeing AI companions, AI chatbots, and so forth. And young kids sometimes are struggling with bullying, real life bullying in schools. They're struggling with a sense of belonging, their groups and all of that. So they turn to these companion and AI chatbots, and they're befriending them. They are enabling. They're giving it names like a friend and a person, and then additionally, they're starting to have conversations. And now they're withdrawing more and more from the real world and real relationships into the online space and the online world. And now it's almost probably every 2-3 months, we're hearing of another child that committed suicide. Another, and all age ranges. I've seen 15, 16, 18, 32, 80-year-old. I mean, everyone's turning to, and I mean, I had a conversation with a young man about this, and I was speaking about Room of Safety just before it came out. And he said, actually, I live on my own, so I've got a chatbot. So by the time I walk through the door, I'm like, hi, whatever the name was, and says, and thinking, and the chatbot goes, "How was your day? You know, how are you feeling?" And he actually said he feels better. He doesn't feel alone, you know, without the chatbot. Now, that's the reality of what's happening now. Are we ready? Are we really having conversations? And I love what Nola was speaking about, that as adults, as regulators, policymakers, corporates, we don't have the answers. So a lot of this is going to have to be dialogue. It's going to have to be conversations to say, okay, we think this is safe. We think this is not safe, and setting rules together with them. So Isabella and Tiani and I often have very robust negotiations. Yes, they're very good negotiators. They negotiate extra time out of me all the time. But it's an agreement, and it's almost a discussion to say, what do I want you to achieve? How do I want you to behave? How do I want you to not show up? And also what they need, and then expressing that. So I think we have to figure this out. But there's so many risks, and AI is one I've spoken about. But I think there are many risks, and technology is evolving. Therefore, the type of risks are also evolving. So I just wanted to add that.
Thank you. Thank you for that.
I think maybe my comment as Eugenia had, there's an important community that I care deeply about, and those who know my journey, Dikasa and Dudu Etsang, they'll tell you the persons with disabilities. How do we also make sure that we do not leave this cohort of our children out of this discussion? How do we make sure that they're also part and parcel of all these interventions that we're putting in place? Secondly, is the issue of language. You know, because yes, Marina says parents go buy these gadgets, but do they really understand, you know, what's entailed in there? But also, it's not only about understanding about what's entailed in there. We understand that across the continent, we're dealing with high levels of illiteracy. So those are some of the things that we also need to be thinking about on how we also support those who come to purchase these gadgets and help them through, handhold them, you know. But also, what's also important for me is that, yes, we are all excited that we're putting this task force together. We're going to be launching this task force together. What is important is the granular part that happens post the launch, the type of programs that we put in place. But taking it beyond that is, how do we measure this impact? Because we need to be held accountable to say, you called us into this room, you know, you told us about all these great plans that you're putting in place, but how do we come back and account to everyone? And I think from our side as the GSMA, those who understand our universe and the work we do, we're also very big on research. And I suppose that's one of the aspects that we're going to have to make sure that we put in place. We put the tools in place to make sure that the part of measurements and impact is also factored into the work that we do going forward.
Thank you so much for those remarks. We have time for one question.
Thank you. Thank you for this brilliant panel. I learned so much. My name is Lennon Munyaya. I'm from the African Peer Review Mechanism, APRM. We actually have a mandate to track governance on the African continent. And I just wanted to ask, in what way can institutions such as the African Committee on the Rights and Welfare of Children, based in Lesotho, and the African Union through the Youth Envoy and all these institutions can scale up this work? I'd like to have a conversation and take it forward. Thank you.
Maybe can I answer that one? When we put the program together and we started having discussions with UNICEF, we had to make sure that there's proper representation, you know, and hence you saw Her Excellency Lerato being on board from the highest body to make sure that all the right people, even from the telecoms POV, we make sure that the African Telecoms Union is on board, all the regional regulatory bodies, your CRASA, your IACOs are all on board to make sure that we also have touch points with all the important stakeholders, even yourselves. We also had meetings a few weeks, if not a month ago, with Her Excellency, just wanting to make sure that we leave no one up behind as we make, as we journey ahead.
Makiba?
No.
think you wanted
Sure. Thank you so much for the question. And then especially for the African Experts Committee for the Rights and Well-being of the Children, they are already including some of the key concluding observations related to online child safety in each country of the AU member states country observation. So if you look at them closely, you would be able to see that the AU is already taking action based on the guidance. And then based on this new Africa task force, they should be able to have more influence on its member states, including the private sectors operational in their continent. But the work has been already started, and then the expert committee is already starting its job to keep the member states accountable for the online safety for the children.
Are we happy there? I'd like to say thank you so much for your leadership, your insights, and the work that our panelists are doing across, especially the fact that we understand now that it's across all sectors, across communities, in our households. And so thank you for having a conversation with us and joining us and educating us, making us understand exactly how this is going to work. We appreciate your efforts and we appreciate the task force. Yeah. Now, whether it's how you engage online or what you share with others, we all have something to contribute. We have a shared responsibility to ensure that children are protected and kept safe. What will you commit to? Here is a pledge that we have taken to ensure that we build a safer online environment and community for children.
This is my pledge.
My pledge.
This is my pledge.
My pledge to stay safe, to stay smart,
And strong online.
Hey world, I'm growing up online.
where I can learn,
Create.
game, and connect.
And while the internet is awesome,
I know it's not always safe.
So here's my promise.
I think before I click.
I'll speak up when something feels off, and I'll look out for my friends like I'd want them to look out for me.
I won't let likes or strangers define me.
I'll be smart about AI.
Fake accounts and bots that act like they're real but are not.
I'll keep my info private.
My circle safe.
And my voice strong.
Because staying safe online isn't just about rules.
It's about being aware
Being kind.
and being ready for what's next, really. This is my internet too.
And I'm here to shape it safer,
Braver,
And better,
For us all.
for all of us.
For all of us.
for all of us.
Now, as we begin to wrap up, I think we've heard a big pledge from our young influencers, and it's incredible to see the efforts that everyone has gone to. But of course, we would be remiss if we did not hear a word from someone who has championed this cause, been very much a part of the process. He's the big boss at My House. He is the SVP and GM at Paramount Africa. I am pleased to welcome a storyteller, championing across MTV Base and BET Africa. Please put your hands together for Mr. Monde Twala.
Thank you so much. I think my job is an easy one. I think a lot has been said. What an amazing initiative. What a great journey. And I really want to probably kick it off and thank our partners at MTN for really leveraging the power of storytelling, lived experiences for the youth, by the youth. I think that's something that's close to our hearts as MTV Base. We've had amazing, I think, initiatives over the years, and I think this one also is one that's quite significant in terms of just its impact already. We've leveraged close to probably about 55 million audiences that have engaged with the content across, obviously, our platform, Channel 322, MTV Base, which obviously is also across the continent. So when we kicked this off, it started off as a quick conversation with Marina, very quick conversation, and look at where we are. So I really want to thank Marina, your team at MTN, and everyone behind the scenes. This was really about research-led. It was a research-led initiative, and really, you know, our job was made easy by the research in terms of then how do we then bring this element to life? How do we then build the tools? And I also want to thank the talent and the influencers behind the scenes. What was also important for us was that this was a Pan-African initiative, MTN being a Pan-African business, MTV Base being a Pan-African brand. I think the marriage is there's proof in the results, and the results are really showing great impact. What we also wanted to achieve was really to engage, you know, cross-generational engagement, to drive cross-generational engagement. So making sure that, you know, the parents are really up to speed with what the youth where the youth are. It was also about a multi-platform strategy. We wanted to make sure that this initiative does not only live as a TV property, but also is where the youth are. So hence we even are leveraging partnerships across the digital and social platforms. So really proud about you know, just bringing everyone together, leveraging storytelling. This was important, I think, in the process of pulling together Room of Safety. Was about giving young people that voice, and I think you've heard it today from you know from some of the young people who spoke here today, who are part of the show. You know, key takeouts for me: the time is now. Guningi, there's a lot. Okay, I think there was a question about what's next, but there's a lot, and I think it's going to take all of us to come together. And I think this task force, we were the first ones to get, yeah, we are on. Let's go, and we'll continue to support this initiative and build on. And this is a call to action. We invite corporates, we invite government policymakers, come on board, and let's drive change and real impact that's really going to help young Africans really navigate this digital terrain. I think just to answer some questions around what's next, I think the big news is obviously you've heard is the task force is a key outcome and next step that we all embarking on. Next month is also Mental Health Awareness Month. So as MTV Base, together with MTN, we will be also launching a documentary that looks at mental health awareness. As you've heard from some of the testimonies, that, you know, it has a psychological impact, and I think that's something we've been working on and cooking behind the scenes, and proud to announce that it will be on MTV Base next month, and launching the documentary, and hopefully we'll continue driving engagement, and I'm sure a lot more initiatives are going to come out of this. Lastly, it's a call to action. I'm inviting every single one of you in the room, online, corporates, let's go. Let's create more and really leverage you know, the impact that's really directed at protecting children and helping them be children. And thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you so much, Damons, for those inspiring words. And I think it's a testament of your leadership and the fact that we can stand here after you having created and committed to something so important. And now we are in a tangible space where that actually exists. So I would just like to say thank you so much to everyone who joined us in the Room of Safety. I hope that you guys had a very safe experience and that you felt comfortable. Of course, this is more than just what today was. It continues as an effort between all of these collaborators, and it takes apart from us as well. We are part of it, and we are all going to join in it, and I hope that we continue with that. But guys, it's not over yet. For those that are here in the building, there is an after after party on level 2 upstairs, if you guys would take this entrance. And you will be entertained by the talent that is DJ Chegu. And of course, there will be an opportunity to network and hang out. I'm so honored to have been your lead, your MC, your host of this safe space. My name is Lady G. I'm from Paramount Africa, and thank you for having me. Have a good day.